he's an incredible player, but outside of that, he's a great leader. And he's been everything, we could have asked him to be for this program since he got to campus 2 years ago. Obviously this year he's taken on a lot more ball handling responsibilities for us. He's closed out a lot of games for us. And there's not another player in America you would rather have right now than Walter Clayton with the ball in his hands in a big-time moment.
It's 78 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
One more day of vacation for one Taylor Dahl. I'm sure she is soaking up that beautiful sunshine outside. Mia, Saturday night was one of the craziest emotional roller coasters for Florida men's basketball fans. I still honestly can't believe that Florida came back to win that game. Down 9 points with just over 3 minutes left to play. Walter Clayton, it wasn't his night until it was his night.
We're going to get to you, NFL draft fans. Don't worry, we promise. But we would be doing a disservice to the listening audience, to sports fans at large, if we did not lead with what I believe. And I know I've said this about 3 times, but this is what happens when there's so many games being played over the course of a 3-week period. The game of the tournament. We've seen comebacks. We saw Texas Tech come back in the Sweet 16, down 16 against Arkansas. We did not see a turnaround in the final 3 minutes of a ball game, quite like what Florida was able to do. Texas Tech had a 95.6% chance to win the ball game, according to ESPN Analytics. And then what happened? Walter Clayton happened. Free throws matter happened. Thomas Haug happened. And here we are, Florida headed to its 6th Final Four in program history.
Yeah, look, what Todd Golden was able to do in keeping his team, as he said after the game, they never get too high, they never get too low, is honestly unbelievable. Because I think, like you said, the 95.6 percentage, but also the emotion. Like the emotion in that building was the run is over. This magical run for this Florida men's basketball team is over. They just didn't have it. And here's what, to me, Mia, is crazy. Florida still hasn't played their best basketball.
Nope.
So that's where
that's why they're all picking against them now.
For sure. If you're Auburn, obviously the next opponent for Florida, you have to be a little wary of the fact that you obviously these two teams know each other well. Todd Golden and Bruce Pearl know each other well. But I think you have to be a little concerned. Like, what if Florida actually puts it all together and plays elite basketball for all 40 minutes? Auburn, it's going to be a tough team to beat, though.
As a non-Gator, I just feel like it was a disservice to the sport that the best game was the first of the Elite Eight games, and that unfortunately we had a thumping by Duke of Alabama, despite the fact that Alabama hung 113 points on BYU in their Sweet 16 matchup, made a record number of threes, and then just went cold. Not even going to talk about Tennessee.
Oof.
That was one of the bigger downers, especially for a game that we knew would be predicated on physicality. And they scored the lowest number of points by a 1 or a 2 seed in tournament history. Not Elite Eight history, tournament history. 15 points in the first half. But yes, Auburn. It will be an SEC matchup for the Gators in the Final Four in San Antonio. Winners 70-64. I credit Michigan State for also perhaps hanging around, giving enough hope of perhaps, especially once Janai Broome exited the game with injury. Of course, he did come back and promptly drill a nice little jumper there, which I thought he was holding his shoulder as he came out of the locker room. So I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to end well. I know it's multiple injuries. There was the foot, there was the shoulder. His parents,
it's an elbow.
Yeah, his parents got brought down to the locker room. You're like, oh my goodness, even if Auburn advances, like This is not the Auburn team that we thought was the number 1 team in the field. Maybe Michigan State has a little magic left. It is January, February, Izzo, April, May. But no, Auburn prevails. Greg Sankey is taking a victory lap somewhere in Alabama right now, and I am very, very proud of him for investing in basketball. And while, yes, we got arguably 1 mediocre game, 2 duds, and one of the best games of the tournament, the strength of the SEC on full display, and that is the reason why you will see 2 of its teams among the Final Four.
The SEC now owns the record for the most wins in an NCAA tournament. They now have 20. The ACC had that record, but it went down over the weekend, I should say. ACC once upon a time had 19 wins. That was in 2016. For Florida fans, Walter Clayton Jr. not hitting his first 3 until 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the game. I think to tell people that you're going to the Final Four, that this team is going to the Final Four when something like that happens. And look, you know me. I've been singing the praises of Thomas Houck for months. This kid is the most hardworking guy. Not saying that the rest of them don't work hard, but when the game tips off, he does nothing but hustle the whole time. And so I do think that some Florida fans are asking for Alex Condon to not start because he's had a little bit of a rough tournament, and for Thomas Houck to start. I don't think Todd Golden's going to change anything at this
I also
point in
don't
time.
think Alex Condon's 100%. And
He's
also,
not fully
by the
healthy.
way, if not for Ruben Shenyelu's key rebound at the end and the fact that Todd Golden said, I'm going to put all 3 of my bigs in, you probably, I mean, not that you don't win the game, but you certainly, because Denzel Aberdeen hit a 3 about 5 minutes into the game. So I knew Florida was winning the game, unlike everyone else out there.
I definitely
24-0,
did not-
Lauren.
Yeah, I did not feel like that in the moment, though.
Never a doubt 24-0, but no.
And Florida also, when leading at halftime, hasn't lost.
I think that Alex Condon's not 100%, but at the same time, it's a different skill set than Thomas Houck. I like the idea of Houck coming off the bench. He is that true spark plug 6th man. I'm okay with that. But certainly, I think the critique of the Gators nationally this morning is going to be, and was yesterday as well, it looked like they were waiting for either Walter Clayton Jr. or Thomas Houck or somebody to take over. And the rest of the roster, the rest of the guys on the floor, largely were sitting back and just hoping and praying that the magic would still exist. Can that actually carry you through a March run? Yes. Is it sustainable long term? Walter Clayton's only got 2 games left in his career, so I don't think he cares. And you could say the same about Elijah Martin and Will Richard. Although, look, I don't think that the Gators get to this juncture without those gentlemen. But it was pretty jarring, the final 5-6 minutes up until the comeback with 2:56 left, that it felt like they were waiting for the magic to take over. And as we have seen locally here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Josh Hines-Allen has been very vocal about it. What happened down the stretch of the 2023 season was they were waiting for the magic of 2022 to appear. And you can't do that. That is where I have concerns about Florida. But to your point, I have seen enough of them this year that I know they can play a complete game. This isn't a matter of the ball bouncing their way in this Cinderella run.
Yeah, they just did it in the SEC tournament.
Correct. And so that's where I think it is different. But at the same time, you can't rely on, okay, like, is Walt going to make a shot and that's going to get everything going?
All right. Well, RJ worked hard to put together some highlights for all you Gators basketball fans.
Yeah.
They space the floor. He'll put up a 3. Well, Dan, you said it in the open. If the game, Clayton again, double. Williams there. Back to Houck. Tees up a 3. Good! This guy's been incredible. Got to get up. You can't let Clayton rise for 3 on that pick and roll. Houck! Houck. Clayton. Screen. Defense Williams. Clayton gets right to tie. Inside Clayton. The Gators have recaptured the lead. Williams intercepted. The Gators are going to the Final Four.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's a direct result of the work that our players have done all year and the work my staff has done. We don't do this without the collective work of our program. But I'm incredibly proud, to be able to be here in year 3, to get Florida back to the Final Four, is something that's incredibly special. And, when I was fortunate enough to get this position 3 years ago, I'm not sure this was, something that, hey, get to the Final Four by year 3, but we're awfully proud of it.
As well, he should be the voice of Todd Golden. 18 points in the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds, Mia. I'm not sure that Tennessee had 18 points in most of the first half yesterday.
No. And look, and that's where, from the jump, there were 3 teams that I gave you here on the Superstation that I said, these are the 3 teams that can win the national championship. And unfortunately, 2 of them ran into each other on Saturday night with Duke and Alabama. Florida is the 3rd team, and that's with all due respect to Auburn. My concern is that with Auburn, even with Houston, although they certainly proved me wrong yesterday because I had Tennessee winning that game, you can just continue to bring guys in off the bench who, well, yes, there's going to be some outings where they only get you a basket or two, but could go nuclear and microwave at any given time. Those are the only 3 rosters in the sport entering the month of March that had that capability, basically 1 through 10. And while, yes, Auburn certainly has found something, not only certainly in the, runner-up for National Player of the Year in Janai Broome, but found something in Tashad Pettiford coming off the bench. He's been absolutely sensational. I know the box score says only 10 points against Michigan State, more than that in their Sweet 16 victory, and has been electric from 3. I just think that when I look at the rotations and I look at the bodies and I say, hey, if this guy gets into foul trouble, if you have to shift your lineup, you have to go small, you have to go big, who can do that best? And the answer is the Florida Gators and Duke.
Yeah.
E.T.'s driving around somewhere. I know he's liking that I conceded that, yes, John Shire's squad, yeah, they can do that too.
Yeah, Duke beat Bama by 20, 85-65. That was unbelievable. Look, I did think that Texas Tech would be tired because of that overtime victory, but certainly it looked like Florida was the team that was tired on Saturday night.
We do invite you guys into the
Until
conversation, not only about Gator basketball, headed to the Final Four for the 6th time in program history, but also, yes, we will get to the NFL draft coming up here momentarily. So if you have thoughts, whether that be on the draft at large, my mock draft 1.0, which we're going to preview, and we're going to showcase here coming up in just a second. Be sure to hit us up. 904-641-1010 is the number to reach us on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You also can leave a chat like so many of you already have in the YouTube digital studio. Let's go there first, Lauren. I did enjoy this one. Did Robert delete his? No, there it is. Robert would like to remind us all that it is crazy that the average age of the Auburn roster is older than that of the NBA's Oklahoma City Thunder.
That is wild.
That is the reality.
Yeah, that's college basketball with the COVID year, and the transfer portal is certainly in full swing. All right, also Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, met with media at the NFL owners meetings, so we will check in with Jamal St. Cyr at 1:20, and before that, like you said, Mia's mock draft, and also we'll chat with Gus Logue at 12:40 to talk all things about the 1010XL draft guide. Tons to do on this Monday. It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com, and a reminder, you will have peace of mind when you get your tires from Big Chief Tire. They repair road hazard damage on eligible tires for free. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
Hear the voice of the Jaguars, Frank Franchi.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Crowd getting involved.
Afternoons on the Franchi Show
Victory formation for Jacksonville.
on 1010XL.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both? With everyday deals at Sonny's. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for 10, the pork and rib combo for 12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
You're shrimp in a bag.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball opens this week at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Come early tomorrow for the opening day street carnival and stick around for post-game fireworks, all presented by Roland Reach Plumbing. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday and fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Yeah, always hard letting go of good football players, man. I have a ton of respect for both of those guys. I've done some really good things here. Those were not easy decisions, and ultimately you hate to let go of good football players. But, production, right? Those guys did have a good amount of targets, receptions, some critical plays in different moments of different years. So there's some chemistry, some camaraderie there, I'm sure, that we have to, continue to work on. But I think you saw what BT and Trevor were able to do last year. And then obviously with some of the guys in Parker Washington had a great connection. And you start to see some of these guys evolve. We're like, okay, this allows us to do some different things within our roster structure and feel confident about where it's going moving forward.
The comments of one Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, when asked about letting go Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk. Of course, Kirk now with the Texans was traded there, and Evan Ingram with the Broncos. He signed there. So, Mia, that leads us into, of course, your mock draft 1.0. And I do think receiver, tight end, those are certainly two key positions that I'm hoping you drafted.
And wide receiver, a much leaner class than in years past. And listening to Move the Sticks, the most recent episode, Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah said there may not be a true number one wide receiver in this class. Of course, once upon a time, there were 31 teams that passed on Puka Nacua, and now he's in line to be a number one wide receiver. So it remains to be seen exactly what comes to pass. The tight end group, meanwhile, is as deep as it's ever been. And despite the fact that the Jaguars signed, for lack of a better term, two friends of the McVay tree to add depth to the tight end room, I still believe the Jaguars will draft a tight end. No trades this week, folks. I kept it simple. You, of course, can watch my mock draft on the 1010XL video and social channels. You also can read the full version at 1010XL.com. The link is available in our link tree as well as on those various video social posts. I kept it simple. No trades. Pick number 5. The Jaguars draft Mason Graham. Let me give you some numbers, Lauren.
I like numbers.
Player A, 6'3.5 inches. So 6'3.5 inches. 296 pounds, 32-inch arms. Player B, 6'3", 5 1/8 inch, 292 pounds, 31-inch arms. Player C, 6'2.5 inches, 293 pounds, 31 3/8-inch arms. Do you have any idea who player A, B, or C is?
I would guess that these are the guys, like an Abdul Carter is one of them, like a Jalen Walker is one of them, like a Mason Graham.
Mason Graham is player A. So that is 6'3.5 inches, 296 pounds, 32-inch arms. Player B is Braden Fisk, who went 39th overall to the Los Angeles Rams in the 2024 NFL Draft, despite his 31-inch arms that perhaps gave more than one person in the previous administration pause. And player C is Kobe Turner, who the Rams drafted with the 89th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. He of the 31 3/8-inch arms, 3 pounds lighter, than Mason Graham weighed in at the NFL Combine, and a full inch shorter. And so I bring up those players to say James Gladstone has not been swayed by those measurables before. And while you don't want to compare based off those measurables because it's about being intangibly rich, I think that it's important to make that distinction of players that Gladstone and the Rams drafted previously and that they found success within their defensive scheme. And the idea of, even if the Jaguars are to run a different scheme because players dictate the scheme, not what the coach wants to do, I do think that there already is a precedent set that this could be the pick at 5. And as I've stressed for weeks, he is a solid double off the wall. Put it in the fairway, just take him.
He's certainly been the most mocked player that we've seen to the Jaguars at 5. But again, to your point, if the Jaguars trade down potentially, then that certainly changes everything. What's fascinating to me is Shedeur Sanders really does hold the key, I feel like, to this draft for the Jaguars. If Shedeur Sanders goes 2 or 3 overall, he's not going to go 4 to the Patriots, but 2 or 3 overall to the Browns and the Giants, respectively. The Jaguars then have another option. If Shedeur Sanders falls out of the top 5, it does feel like the Jaguars pretty much only have not one option, but it feels like Mason Graham is the option at that point in time. They have lots of options, but it feels like that's where they'd go.
Here's the thing. Even if Cam Ward goes 1, which the Browns yesterday at the owners' meetings, we'll get to the owners' meetings here in just a second, certainly sounded like that they're not drafting Cam Ward, that they all but kind of said that. Even if Shedeur,
they don't even have the option because he's going to be off the board at number 1 of the Titans.
Although Brian Callahan did tell reporters this morning they need 2 more weeks to make that decision, which, okay, cool, dude.
He also said Cam Ward has a ton of confidence, which you love to see if you're the number 1 overall pick. So the mixed messages are running
they're
rampant.
really trying to keep a poker face, and I applaud them for that, but it's not working. So Cam Ward goes 1. Let's say Shedeur Sanders goes 2. Yes, realistically, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter go in some form or fashion at 3 and 4, or so we would think. And so, yes, then the Jaguars, I guess, could have a conversation between Will Campbell and Mason Graham, T-Mac, Ted McMillan a little bit. Even then, unless there are 3 quarterbacks, in my estimation, taken in the top 4, this is the obvious pick, unless you are trading back, unless you don't view Mason Graham as one of those players who is intangibly rich and who can fortify your defensive line.
But if the Patriots take a tackle at 4, then and 2 quarterbacks are off the board, then the Jaguars are still in a great position when it comes to Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
I think the Patriots are there. If one of them is there, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, you can't look the rest of your team in the eye and say, well, we needed a left tackle if one of those players does become the generational talent that they are predicted to be. And especially when you have the holes that the New England Patriots still do on their roster long term.
I tend to agree with you, but we've also seen NFL franchises kind of pigeonhole themselves into thinking, I'm not going to draft the best player available. I'm going to draft for need, what my team needs. And certainly the Patriots, as we know, need a left tackle. And when it comes to this NFL draft class I don't know that there's any tackles out there that people are drooling over. Like, I think people have now picked apart Will Campbell, picked apart Armand Membo as well. So I don't know that there's that shiny tackle like we've seen like Joe Alt last year.
And to those of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures who say that my comparison of player A, B, and C doesn't stand because one was a second-round pick, one was a third-round pick, we've heard from enough scouts and draft analysts over the last few months that there's probably only 10 to 15 maybe players in this class with a first-round pedigree. That's the other part of this. Like, you may only get 6 or 7 guys who actually go on to make a Pro Bowl in this class. And so I don't care if they're on the lesser end of that, right? Like, let's say this was the 2021 draft, right? Where you had Trevor Lawrence off the top, you had Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell. Mason Graham probably goes 14th or 15th in that class, Lauren. And it's okay to say, yes, I know he'd go 14th or 15th there, but he's going 5th here because that is the nature of this class. And that's okay. That's okay to say that. So moving along, I will give you a couple other picks from this week's Mia's Mock Draft 1.0, which, of course, you can see on 1010XL.com, the video version on our social and video channels, too. With the 36th pick in the second round of the NFL Draft, in this week's mock draft, I have the Jaguars selecting Jack Betch, wide receiver out of TCU. Now, I would like to note Daniel Jeremiah, lead analyst for the draft for the NFL Network. He's doing the 40s and Free Agents podcast with Greg Rosenthal right now, and they did an episode last week, Lauren, where they looked at the 7 teams with first-year head coaches, and they examined the first 3-4 picks for those teams. And he has Betch going to the Jaguars at pick number 70. I do not believe, having done my own mock draft simulator for all 32 teams, I do not believe that Jack Betch will be there at number 70, solely because what we led off the top by saying, this is a draft class that probably doesn't have any top-end number ones outside of maybe Tet McMillan at the wide receiver position, has a lot of good 2s, solid 2s or 3s. Jack Betch is one of them, and he additionally is that wide receiver, and I'm not going to say the words Cooper Kupp because I know everyone wants to comp him to Cooper Kupp. What I will tell you is this. He is the modern wide receiver. He can play inside or outside. He is physical at the point of attack. He is a willing blocker and then some. He had 1 drop on 91 targets last year. And while, yes, there are those who look at the road he took to get to that 1,000-yard-plus season at TCU his senior year, the fact that he started at LSU, actually had more receptions and yards than Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors his rookie year, or his freshman year, I should say. Then transfers for his junior year, gets hurt. You don't see the production. Some people think this is a one-hit wonder. Some people think this is a Hallmark movie, and people just want to go with Jack Betch because, of course, the unfortunate and horrific story of what happened to his brother, as well as this meteoric rise up draft boards. For me, I think he checks all the boxes. Just like Mason Graham, put it in the fairway. He's going to be a solid football player. And to me, he was intangibly rich in November, too.
Yeah, the Senior Bowl certainly showcased his talents, and I think Betch would be a great selection. And we heard from Liam Cohen today, too, a little bit more on De'Ami Brown and what he expects from him. And he says, we can't just send Brian Thomas Jr. vertical every single time. We have to have other guys that stretch the field. And so when you start to look at the receiver mix, I really like that pick. Like you said, I don't know that he'll necessarily be there, but
That's why maybe
you do have a guy like Xavier Restrepo who ran so slowly that 40 times, so that he falls a little bit, and then does Betch creep up a little?
I don't think Restrepo can go inside or outside, though, to the point that Jack Betch can. And he's not a burner. I think you would still need to potentially draft or find another burner outside. But I also think you still have Gabe Davis on the roster, and you need to do something with him. And allegedly, up in Buffalo, that's what he did. He stretched the field, even if he only had 4 or 5 speed. 2 picks in the third round for your Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them dipping back into the pool on the defensive line. Kyle Kennard, edge out of South Carolina, the reigning Bronco Nagurski Award winner for the best defensive player in college football. And at pick 88, you want to cue up the music for this one, RJ. Trust me. With the 88th pick in this week's mock draft, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Tate Ratledge, offensive lineman.
Taylor's favorite.
Georgia. The mullet man. The mullet man, who, by the way, Lauren.
Taylor would love that.
This is insane. The raw athletic score that MathBomb does on X, and you can find it at ras.football/RAS information, RAS. 9.96 raw athletic score. That is 8th out of 1,720 guards studied between 1987 and 2025. That's not to say that athleticism translates to a good football player, but my golly, this is a guy who was known for being a dirt dog, as Lance Zierlein pointed out in his NFL.com write-up. He's a dirt dog, and he's that athletic comparatively.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Georgia football and the fact that they couldn't really run the ball well this season, and a large portion of that, and Carson Beck's getting sacked a bunch too, was because Tate Ratledge went down with injury, and the line really struggled without him in it. All right, we will keep it on the NFL draft. Gus Logue of 1010XL will join us next. The 1010XL draft guide came out today, so make sure you get all that information for you. We will do that next on 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
Because life is a sport. Let the games begin! That's why we are Jacksonville Sports Radio. 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's exclusive 31-day spring event. Experience superior craftsmanship and timeless design with buy one, get one 40% off custom replacement windows and patio doors. Enjoy the ease of 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
How likely is it to live to be 100 years old? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In the United States, about 5% of women live to be 100, but only 1.8% of men.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 31st, 1961, Boston Bruins defenseman Bobby Orr scores his third career hat trick, becoming the first player in NHL history to score 100 points for 4 straight seasons.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all, from mowing, edging, fertilizer, to irrigation, and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Hey folks, Nick in here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Taylor Dahl on vacation today on this Big Chief Tower Monday, but she'll be back tomorrow. And we're now joined by Gus Logue, author in part of the 1010XL Draft Guide, the massive amount of information that dropped today.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely author in part. A lot of shout outs to give out. Firstly, Taylor Dahl, who, even though she's not here, was definitely our main kind of graphic designer. Pretty much built the whole PDF from scratch, which is 130 pages long.
Wow.
Trent Osborne, my desk mate, was a big help writing bios, kind of filling in a lot of gaps. We also got a lot of help from John O'Leary. I don't know. Where are the other names?
Intern extraordinaires.
The last names are just
Caleb Thomas and Jacob, who did a tremendous job. Yep. Jacob J. Not
J.
Not the good Yoda. Not Jacob Simons, who I think I'm gonna have to start calling him Jake. But yeah. But no, it was
and Hacker and Hayes and Tony and Mike.
So we had 5 roundtable questions with I think 9 different contributors, and so I think that's a great place for people to start out, even though it is at the end of the document, just because I want to make sure no one skips past all the profiles since they're so pretty. Thanks again to Taylor. But yeah, I would actually recommend starting out with the roundtable discussions, because I think there you can get a really good feel for just how we all feel about the Jaguars and the draft and what they could and should do. And then after that, then obviously I think there will be a lot of questions that pop into readers' heads of like, oh, what if they do this there or that there? And also, Mia's mock draft is definitely a good place for look out for that.
We got all the draft
We got all of
content.
it.
For everyone who's been, lamenting about the fact that there's been so much Gator basketball coverage. You both are UF alums, so I won't.
Gators.
Yeah, I won't even go into that. But we've got the draft coverage on lock here these final 3-4 weeks before the NFL draft.
Sorry, real quick, Mia, that was the best part about someone tweeted like Saturday night, but when it looked like Florida was going to lose, like, thank goodness they can stop talking Gators and talk draft, which, by the way, if you don't know, Jaguars today spends 2 hours every single day talking about the NFL draft, and then Florida went on to win, and so that made the tweet made me even happier about it.
Cold takes exposed. Cold, old, all the same thing. A couple of those round tables, Gus, I think are merit a discussion here because they were not released as part of our lead up to our 1010XL draft guide, of course, brought to you by Blue Haven Pools. So let's discuss a couple of them. Kind of building off of Mia's mock draft Monday 1.0, which it also dropped on 1010XL.com here this morning, and you can check that out. We were just discussing it. We didn't get to the later rounds, though, Lauren, and so this is for roundtable number 4 in the 1010XL draft guide, which is available for download at 1010XL.com. Who is a later round prospect that you hope the Jags draft on day 2 or 3? Gus Logue says Texas safety Andrew Makuba on day 2. What say you, Gus?
Yeah, really big fan of Makuba's game. Very instinctual player. He's a little bit undersized, so maybe that'll make him slip down some teams' draft boards, but he's a very productive player at 2 major programs. Finished his college career at Texas, began it at Clemson. I was reading that he transferred from Clemson because he just didn't feel challenged enough by that coaching staff and really wanted to maximize his talents. And so I think that's probably something that the Jaguars are looking for in their quote-unquote intangibly rich mold that they want and really all the additions they bring into the building. So I really like him specifically as a prospect, but really I also like the idea of the Jaguars adding a safety somewhere in the middle of the draft to be a potential starter, but really all-around contributor for the team, especially with Andre Cisco leaving in free agency.
So that's a big, broad question that I addressed in the mock draft 1.0 as well, Gus. And Lauren, I want your take too. The idea of a true center fielder, right? A true free safety who has the ability, because of the scheme and how it's dictated, to roam freely, be that guy who cleans up the mess, yes, but also is that ball-hawking safety like Andre Cisco was in college at Syracuse, where he tallied, 8 interceptions in a single season prior to tearing the ACL or something like that.
He's very productive.
Yeah,
right.
I think he had 13 total.
Yeah, and it was like 8 or 9 his sophomore year. And that's the position that he played in college. We didn't see as much of it, and obviously part of that was the rotations under Ryan Nielsen last year. The center fielder, and we've had multiple draft analysts on that I've tried to ask them, like, who is that guy in this year's crop? I don't know if there is that guy, and I think part of it is because defense coordinators like Anthony Campanelli are moving towards a system where it's positionless, but also even if you are that quote-unquote free safety center fielder, you need to be able to crowd the box and be physical at the line of scrimmage, be brought upon on blitzes, and even just coming up and run support. And so I think it's interesting that, again, like that's where my mind was at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, like, you don't want to have like a tell. It's great for certain players to have like niche roles and great abilities, like being a center fielder and really having the range to go sideline to sideline. But you also want the guy to be able to come up to the box to have be able to carry out a variety of responsibilities, to be able to keep the offense guessing so that the opposing offense doesn't see that the safety is always lined up as a center fielder. And so it's really because of the versatility. You want to keep the offenses guessing. Like, kind of gone are the days of having like an Earl Thomas type as a center fielder and a Cam Chancellor type as like the box safety close to the line of scrimmage. Certainly those are like prototypes at safety, and usually prospects fall into one box or the other. But you definitely want to have the versatility, the 2 split field safeties, to be able to do anything, again, to keep offenses guessing.
By the way, I had Billy Bowman out of Oklahoma, another safety who does a little bit of both. He's also got some like crazy to him. He's got the all ball, just that dirt dog mentality, Lauren, we were just talking about Tate Ratledge about, and I feel like the Jaguar secondary could use a little crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little tell. I think that goes back to why Evan Ingram's not here, Gus. Like, I think when Evan Ingram was on the field, you knew exactly what was going to happen, right? Like, he's just going to catch the ball. He's not going to block anybody. Or he attempted, but wasn't great, obviously, at blocking. And so I do think, like, as I try to figure out this regime and how they're going to approach this draft, I have to also look back and look at some of the players that they've let go to this point. And so that's, to me, that's what I keep coming back to with Ingram. Like, he's not here because he wasn't able to do more.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point because you need to look at that across every single position group. I know that's definitely a good point for the tight end room where Evan Ingram, I think, is a capable blocker, especially for his size. But because of his size, he's essentially a pseudo wide receiver,
right?
Kind of lining up in the slot more than any other position. Arguably, is better as like an out wide receiver than a true inline tight end. I certainly don't want it like he is, again, a capable blocker. But yeah, Brenton Strange does offer a little bit more versatility, especially in the run game, being able to carry out a very wide range of assignments. Like Ingram could kind of like cut across the formation and take out like the last guy on the front. But Brenton Strange more so can be really inserted into the run game and then maybe isn't as explosive as Evan Ingram is in the passing game. But at the same time, he can give you a lot, especially after the catch, that he's got both sides to it. And so I think when you look at the safeties, like certainly you do want someone with that, again, range to go sideline to sideline, be that center fielder, because it is important to have someone like that, almost like for the offense, it's important to have a fast wide receiver to take the top off of defenses. You want a guy to be able to stop those guys or to stop explosive plays at the end of the day. But really, you want guys that can do a lot of different things just to make things more difficult for the opposition.
And what do they think about Antonio Johnson? Like, that's
a great question.
I have no idea to this point. Yeah,
we don't know what they think of Buster Brown. We don't truly know what they think of. I mean, go down the line to Jarian Jones, Tyson Campbell. We know what they clearly think of Eric Murray because they went out of their way to sign him, and ditto to Jordan Lewis, who Liam Cohen was effusive of in his praise today.
Right. We know how they feel about Trevor Lawrence. They've been vocal about that, and also you don't have a choice. And we know how they feel about Brenton Strange, to Gus's point, because he's still here, and he's versatile. Like I said, outside of that, I'm not sure. Yeah, we're still trying to put all those pieces together.
So Gus and I, in this roundtable from the 1010XL Draft Guide, which in case you're just joining us, you can download now at 1010XL.com, brought to you by Blue Haven Pools.
We're going to break the internet.
We are. We are going to break the internet with a number of downloads. Amen to that, Lauren. We both go safety with our prospects we're eyeing in day 2 or day 3. Some other names that are thrown out there. Both Hayes and Mike Dempsey say Jared Wilson out of the University of Georgia. Dylan Denmark
offensive lineman, not former Jaguars player.
Dylan Denmark's got Dante Thompson, Jaden Higgins. Lauren, who's a guy who I know, you're still going through all these names, but who's a guy day 2 or day 3 that you've said, maybe this is not a first round name to watch for, but the Jags should keep this guy on their radar?
Jalen Noel.
Oh, yeah.
Wide receiver out of Iowa State. 80 catches last year for almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. We had Ryan Roberts on last week, and he went into detail about him. Definitely an intangibly rich prospect as well. I do believe the Jaguars need to add another receiver.
And I think Gus does as well.
Yeah, I like that one. I do think he has a little bit more versatility than a lot of people might think. A lot of people might think because of his size. Yeah, it's definitely a buzzword I've been throwing around in the draft guide, on Duval Rundown, everywhere online. Definitely need the versatility. I think he does have that a little bit more than some people might think, just with his relatively smaller frame and size. He's gotten a lot of Christian Kirk comparisons that I've seen, that he's not just a slot receiver, but a vertical slot receiver that can win at all 3 levels of the field. But I also have seen some comps to Tyler Lockett, because I think that his route running at the intermediate and deep levels really stand out, and how he's able to separate from defenders at that level, as well as his contested catch ability. I think like even more so than Christian Kirk, who can certainly bring in some tough catches, but like Tyler Lockett is really special at that, especially for like players at that size. And I think Jalen Noel has a chance to be that special too.
For sure.
Jalen Noel, 10th in the consensus rankings. Did not get any votes in the top 5 positional rankings. So he's not in anybody's top 5 from the 1010XL Draft Guide, but he is number 10 in the consensus. And our comp for him is indeed Christian Kirk. That's the beauty of the 1010XL Draft Guide, folks. And I've been texting Gus all weekend as I've been, proofreading and editing. And I've just been like, oh my God, this comp is so good. Oh my God, this comp is amazing. I'm like, my goodness. Although I took some issue with the Caleb Johnson comp because I wanted it to be Derrick Henry. It was not Derrick
I learned
Henry.
my lesson. I comped who's the Carolina Panthers running back? that got picked last year.
Out of Texas, right? Out of Texas. Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks, right? I said that he was Derrick Henry light, and like that. I mean, obviously injury had a big part in how his rookie year went, but never again am I going to compare anyone to Derrick Henry.
I do think that's smart. We did go through some NFL comps on the program on Friday, and it's a whole lot of fun to try and, I feel like, bridge the gap for some people who don't watch film, right? Or maybe they don't watch college football at all. And so then when you tell them, okay, this player could end up being like this player, then they can visualize it, right? And so I do think that's helpful. All right, so at 5, pick 5, I know you've never discussed this on Duval Rundown, who the Jaguars might select with that 5th overall pick. What say you if we have 2 quarterbacks go in the top 4 and then Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are both off the board?
I think the Jaguars will likely select Mason Graham. I think I would probably take Will Campbell out of LSU. I think that I feel like most people that I've seen, most draft analysts that I trust, do view him as a left tackle, but he could certainly be like perennial Pro Bowl caliber offensive guard. So I think he can immediately slot in, potentially to overtake Ezra Cleveland at the left guard spot, or at least provide competition there. And then he's like really more of a safety valve as like a kind of almost backup to the backup swing tackle, where like if something did happen to Anton Harrison or Walker Little, then like he could potentially slot into either tackle spot in the starting lineup. I think Will Campbell makes more sense because of his versatility than someone like Armand Membu, who actually like more as a prospect, but I think he's more of a tackle only. And I think that it doesn't really make sense to spend a 1st-round pick to add competition where it doesn't really need it that badly. And the Jaguars added competition to their offensive tackle room twice this offseason by bringing in 2 swing tackles in free agency. So, yeah, I like Will Campbell a lot, and I think that Jalen Walker, the edge/linebacker hybrid out of Georgia, is definitely on my radar as like the number 1 kind of sleeper option for the Jaguars.
I liked Will Campbell's comments about, I don't care what position you play me at. If you're going to pick me in the top 5 and I'm going to play right away, just throw me out there and I will play. And I'm sure that resonated with Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots with the 4th overall pick. Maybe Doug Marrone. I don't know. Possibly. I do want to get to a couple off of our YouTube chat line, Gus, for you. And speaking of Jalen Walker, this is from Social. I don't know what the rest of that YouTube handle is. Anyway, Social says, could the thought of Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker being drafted give the idea to the defensive staff that they could use Devin Lloyd in a similar way? I guess what the listener is asking is, if Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker go elsewhere and they are used as chess pieces, is that what Devin Lloyd still is? And I guess I could also throw at you, if you do draft Jalen Walker, what happens to Devin Lloyd? Or is Jalen Walker solely Nolan Smith, 2.0, and he's just lined up at a wide 9?
I think it's like a little bit in between. I do think that if Jalen Walker is the pick, then like it says worse things about probably Devin Lloyd than anyone else on the roster in terms of like kind of the Jaguars' pick giving us information of how they feel about the current roster. Because I think that Jalen Walker would probably primarily play on the edge, and I guess would be the number 3 pass rusher behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. But I certainly think he has the ability to play not just like kind of in mugged up gaps, like where he's like lined up as a linebacker, quote unquote, but like pretending to rush over the center. But he can truly play as an off-ball linebacker. And so his comp in the draft guide was Clay Matthews, who's one of the first guys, at least I can remember, that was an edge rusher, but he also did a decent amount of dropping out into coverage and was really effective at that. Jalen Walker has that versatility, and I think that Devin Lloyd does too, but I think Devin Lloyd has also taken really strong strides and honestly underrated strides as a middle off-ball linebacker, and I think that he can do some like funky stuff, like mugged up over the center in the A-gap or coming off the edge in like clear passing down situations, but I think Devin Lloyd has earned a starting job in Jacksonville. And so I think
you want to extend him, by the way. You've been banging the drum.
I want to extend him and Trayvon Walker because that's what smart teams do. They keep good players in the building at relatively good contracts, or at least team-friendly contracts. And so
Trayvon, I think, will get the extension. I don't know about Devin Lloyd.
I'm both a big Devin Lloyd fan and a proponent of the Jaguars drafting Jalen Walker. Because even though I said Jalen Walker would probably potentially mean bad things for Devin Lloyd, I do definitely foresee a scenario where they can both be on the field at the same time, in addition to Foye Oluokun, and not even on like 3rd and long situations, clear passing downs when it's like you have a bunch of guys lined up on the line of scrimmage, so the offense is kind of guessing whether
which goes back to what we were saying.
Who's blocking, right. Versatility again. But
Are they versatile in rock, paper, scissors?
I'm really interested to see like just how versatile and how aggressive Anthony Campanile's scheme is going to be. I think that's what we're going to learn the most from Jacksonville's first round pick, assuming it is a defender, is just like what his defense is going to be and how he's going to set up his players to succeed. I think if Jalen Walker is the Jaguars' first round selection, then maybe we start thinking about the Jaguars' defense looking a lot more similar to Brian Flores' in Minnesota than we previously thought.
One more from the listeners?
Oh, yes. Let's hit one more from the listeners. How many sacks? Oh, no, never mind. We'll go to that one. People are really trashing all the Jaguars' first round draft picks in the chat right now.
In Jacksonville because of the losing.
I don't know why. They're like
4 wins,
like
that's
that.
why.
Yeah, I guess so. Here we go. This one's from 678. How much would it take to trade up to 1 to go snag Hunter? I think it may be worth it.
1.
I find that the Jaguars fan base, our listening audience's obsession with, well, we need to go get Travis Hunter, who, by the way, we do have big boards as well in the 1010XL draft guide, and I believe you have him as your number 1 overall player, Gus.
Right, yep.
But at the same time, and Lauren and I just had the argument that I think for the New England Patriots, if Travis Hunter is there at 4, despite the fact that you don't have a left tackle on the roster, you need to take Travis Hunter, right? And that's the other part of this. Take the draft number, or the calculator out of it, the draft value chart out of it. I think teams will expect an overpay if you're going to try to go up to try to get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter.
Yeah, so I don't think the Jaguars will entertain the idea of trading up to the first pick.
Plus, the first pick's going to be a quarterback, so you're not going to have to get up to the first pick.
To try to answer the original question, I think that if the Jaguars were to trade up for Travis Hunter, it would be just the Patriots in the 4th pick, and that would probably cost maybe like a 3rd rounder at the least, but you're probably looking at some additional capital on top of that to move from 5 to 4 plus a 3rd round pick, again, if not more. I certainly don't think that that's likely, though, because James Gladstone said the NFL Combine that they'll be hunting up extra picks. They want more at-bats. Liam Cohen said a similar thing this morning at the NFL owners meetings. They definitely want more draft capital. They want, again, more swings at the bat, more dart throws, which makes a lot of sense. And I think that certainly they would be, quote-unquote, sprinting to the podium if Travis Hunter did fall to the 5th pick. But I think as high as a regard as I hold him as a draft prospect, I just don't think they're going to have any interest in moving up for anyone.
678 did clarify.
Okay.
Not 1, not trade up to 1.
Okay,
it was trade up 1 spot.
Got it. Yeah, trade up 1 spot to 4.
Sorry, 678.
Last thing, Gus, real quick. Receiver or corner? Where are you playing Travis Hunter? How are you viewing him? Or
probably,
both?
I think, both. I would probably say wide receiver. I've started out thinking that, you stick him at cornerback because it's probably a little bit harder to, for a defense, you probably want to be in all of those meeting rooms to get all of the defensive structure and all the defensive schemes, all the plays, and really have them all under your belt. And you can just be in a package of plays on offense. But I think that Hunter's ceiling is crazy high on both sides of the ball. But I think he would probably be a little bit more valuable as a Pro Bowl wide receiver as opposed to a Pro Bowl cornerback. I think he also would probably prefer to play wide receiver, especially in terms of his second contract and just making as much money as he can. And also the fact that the Jaguars do have a good play caller and schemer in Liam Cohen, not to mention a great quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. The potential just keeps going higher and higher when you think about it. I've said before, I think that Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas would immediately be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL from day one. And so, yeah, I think for the Jaguars, I've come all the way around in general, but also for the Jaguars, I would be receiver first for Travis Hunter.
So, yeah, if you move up 1 spot to get someone like that, then it would be worth it. All right, Gus, thank you so much for all your hard work and everyone's hard work on the 1010XL Draft Guide, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Go Gators.
Go Gators, that's right. We've got more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball opens this week at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Come early tomorrow for the opening day street carnival and stick around for post-game fireworks, all presented by Roland Reach Plumbing. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday and fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Mia here, and let me tell you about one of our area's best resorts, the Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. The Sawgrass Marriott is not only a great destination for a vacation, but it is also a great destination for dining on the Florida's first coast. 1912 Ocean Bar and Rooftop is now open on Ponte Vedra Boulevard, featuring Ponte Vedra's only oceanfront rooftop bar and lounge. Serving finely crafted cocktails and delectable eats, it's open daily from 4 to 10 with complimentary valet parking.
Big Chief Tire Monday on helmets and heels.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Every morning that you wake up in a pest-free home is a good morning. And with Florida Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service, you can. It's more than just a pest control or preventative maintenance plan. It's Florida Pest Control's promise that we'll be there providing pest-free living for your family all year long. And right now, our initial pest service is just $99. To learn more about our Pest-Free 365 service and to schedule your $99 initial pest service, visit flapest.com today.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performancepainting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
All right, it's Baloo. Let's get real for a minute. Losing weight isn't exactly easy, especially when your life involves being surrounded by good food at every event imaginable. Believe me, I get it. But thanks to Awaken 180, I'm already down 10 pounds, feeling sharper, more energized, and never hungry. This isn't some juice diet or starving yourself nonsense. I'm eating food that tastes great, even when I'm out on the road. Here's the beauty. Awaken 180 gives you the game plan to handle real-life situations. I've been hitting plenty of events lately, temptation everywhere, and I've managed to stay on track effortlessly. That's huge. 10 pounds down, energy way up, hunger totally controlled. So if you're tired of carrying around extra weight, tired of diets that don't work, it's time to check out Awaken 180. Take it from me, Hacker Dempsey Hayes, basically everyone. It's easy. It works and it's real. Do what we did and choose the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
This is Holly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by TopDressing.com. Gator star Walter Clayton Jr. performed yet again, scoring 30 points on Saturday. Another face emerged as a game changer against Texas Tech in form of sophomore forward Thomas Houck, who scored 20 points and went 4 for 6 from behind the arc. Walter Clayton Jr. spoke postgame on his teammates' performance.
Man, he's meant everything. I said it multiple times. I think multiple guys on our team don't get enough recognition. I think Tommy's definitely one of them. You know, he just come in every day, put his head down, he worked. You know, it's a lot more to his game, but he's sacrificing for the team. He plays his role, and he does everything we need him to do. So I'm thankful for him. Let's get 2 more, my boy.
Florida Gators men's baseball split a Friday doubleheader against Ole Miss, coming up short 10-9 in the first game, then rallying from behind in the game 2 as they secured an 11-8 victory in the series finale, winning their first SEC game with the Rebels taking the weekend series. Next up for the Gators will be hosting North Florida tomorrow night at 6:30. It's 80 degrees at 103 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Happy Monday, everybody. It's a Big Chief Tire Monday here on Helmets and Heels. Mia O'Brien is here. RJ Saunders is here. I'm Lauren Brooks. Taylor Dahl on vacation. She'll be back with us tomorrow. Mia, we tipped off the show, I should say, with some men's basketball. And there's a reason for that. That's because the Final Four is now set. And one of those teams includes the one from an hour and a half away, the University of Florida. RJ worked hard on all of these highlights from both the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. Well, we always play buzzer beaters. That's our rule. So we have the Houston buzzer beater in the Sweet 16 and then some Elite Eight highlights for you now.
Uzan gets it in, gets it back, and he puts it in! What a play! Now the officials will stop the clock.
They'll run it out. And another number one seed advances. The Duke Blue Devils come out of the East. And John Shire is headed to his first Final Four as a head coach. On top of their defensive game here tonight. You hold an Alabama team at this point to 58 points. You've done something special. Top scoring team in the country is flag. A flurry of moves.
Full court pressure by the Volunteers. Sharp up ahead. Roberts, the trailer. Sharp finishes. Seventh heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their seventh Final Four and hoping this trip brings them their first title.
Yeah, we have a really good team. I think being humble and staying hungry every day has really helped us. I'm more excited than I'm letting on right now.
Screen. Defense Williams. Clayton to try to tie. Inside Clayton.
Well, they stopped Clayton in the paint on the cut.
And he just dribbles it out.
He dribbles it out, and they were late getting to him.
Williams intercepted. The Gators are going to the Final Four.
It's definitely, like you said, undying belief, but I think it goes to show how together we all are. You know, many teams, could easily just break, start pointing the finger, blaming each other for this and that, but we just stay together through the end, stay the course, and then thankfully we got it done today.
Baker Bazaar, and Broom spins it in, +1. 45-36, Fiddler back in. Same play, rack attack for Broom. Izzo just told his team, don't foul. And that's it. The storybook season continues for Auburn. The Tigers are going to the Final Four. It will be all chalk on the Riverwalk.
Auburn is a special place. It is a it's a special place. I've liked every place I've lived. Okay, I've never liked any place more than I've liked Auburn.
Of course, finishing that with the comments of Bruce Pearl. Just to recap, Auburn beat Michigan State 70-64 yesterday. Houston blew the doors off of Tennessee 69-50. You know by now, Florida beat Texas Tech 84-79, and Duke beat Bama by 20, 85-65. Mia, one play I forgot to mention in the first segment when we talked basketball, that Walter Clayton Jr., and you just heard it. Great job, RJ. He dribbles in. He's not open. He just dribbles right back out. Nobody follows him defensively, and he hits a three. And so certainly that was a massive story from that game as Walter Clayton Jr. started so slowly and then turned on the Jets to finish that game. I do have a little stat for you when it comes to not the Florida-Auburn game, but the other Final Four game.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is the best defensive team that you've seen in the last 3 seasons.
according to KenPom.
According to KenPom.
Yep.
Duke has the best offensive rating that KenPom has ever recorded.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, that's strength on strength. I don't know what wins.
I think that Duke wins because I think that Duke's defense has been much improved over the last 2 months of the season. And certainly in that win over Alabama in the Elite Eight, the defense was clearly a point of emphasis for John Shire because not only, did they hold a high-scoring Alabama offense well below their season average, but additionally, you could see how engaged they were on the floor. And I think one of the most amazing things about Duke is that Cooper Flagg, the National Player of the Year, can be out for stretches. He didn't even have his A game when he was on the floor against Alabama, and Duke still looks unstoppable. And that, for me, is where I say, look, could they have a night where Flagg is off, Con Knipple can't shoot the ball, and certainly, listen, Proctor has come out of nowhere as one of the few upperclassmen on this team, Tyrese Proctor, to say, hey, you know what, I'm still here too. And it perhaps has created an opportunity for him to not be the lead dog like he may have been expected to if these diaper dandies weren't coming to Duke this season. And you can make an argument of like, well, what if they're all off? Like Tennessee. Tennessee started 2 of 23 from the floor yesterday.
That was painful to watch.
Everything
and
was
I
short.
don't root for Tennessee.
The opening 4 minutes where every shot was short, like I said to Kevin, I'm like, maybe it's something with the rims. Maybe it's something with where
usually that means tired legs.
Right. Maybe where they did shoot around, but because it was across the board. Every guy they brought in was leaving their shot short. They weren't overshooting. It was just everything was short. And so, yes, maybe it was tired legs. Maybe it wasn't. But, no, I mean, I'm still taking Duke. As much as I think defense wins championships, Kelvin Sampson has a veteran squad. Veteran guard play is what gets you to the tournament. This is a different Duke team. This is not your grandmother's Coach K team. This is a different iteration. And I think what's most impressive is that Cooper Flagg isn't just, the number one player in this upcoming NBA draft. He's not the number one draftee, the number one player in the recruiting class. You look in his eyes, and this is the most important thing to him, winning a national title at Duke. I don't know if you could say that for some other number one overall recruits, future number one overall NBA draft players in the past.
Who is the most likable coach of the Final Four standing? Is it Bruce Pearl? He used to be the most hated, or one of the most hated.
People have softened on Brucey, including me, and appreciate obviously that he tries to bring the outside world in, and he wants to talk about issues that matter as well, and I respect that. But also, he is the ultimate used car salesman. He was the original. You go back, and if you don't know the story, go back and look at some of the recruiting violations that all but set Bruce Pearl back in his coaching career. He had to go back to D2 after a recruiting violation when he was at the University of Illinois. The people in the Midwest and the Big Ten still haven't forgiven him. I didn't know who Bruce Pearl was when I first got to Iowa in 2015, but I quickly found out, and it's because they still hate him from that one recruiting violation between a recruit who was deciding between Iowa and Illinois back then. And I think people have softened on him, but
maybe it's Kelvin Sampson.
It's Kelvin Sampson because Kelvin Sampson is also someone who faced recruiting violations, but now it's legal, so hey, we're good. And also is someone who I think is so respected across the board in the sport, has come so close and has never actually won the big one. And so I think the winner, and they said this during the pregame, whoever won between Rick Barnes' Tennessee squad and Kelvin Sampson's Houston squad yesterday, they were going to be the team that so many in the sport, other coaches, other players would be rooting for, solely because those are the two new Jay Wrights of, okay, you're a great coach, but you've never won the big one. Those are the new Scott Drews. Until you get over the hump, I can't respect you. And so that's where I would say it's probably Kelvin Sampson.
Were you watching the pregame yesterday when they did the video of showing all the people who have lost in the tournament and the tears between the coaches and players?
No, I've not seen that one.
So it was very emotional. Some tears were also shed in my household. And Jay Wright then also on set had tears in his eyes because as obviously a former coach, he understands what it's like to be so close with these guys and then for it to end. You work so hard for so long, especially these teams now that have over 30 wins, right? Florida at 34 at this point. And he was crying too. So it's a really nice tribute to everybody who isn't going to be cutting down the nets.
Not to pivot away from a great piece that I have to go look up, but speaking of Jay Wright, I don't know whose tweet it was. I'll find it later. An elite tweet sent over the weekend after the ultimate news dump between Pennsylvania and Maryland that you've ever seen in your life. There was a tweet sent out that, well, no wonder Kevin Willard would jump ship from Maryland and go to Villanova, because when you think about it, all three of the last Villanova coaches who are still alive today, Steve Lapis, Jay Wright, and now Kyle Neptune, are all currently employed by CBS Sports during the tournament. So he's got job security for life. Even if he, flames out at Villanova, CBS is just going to pick the guy up, even though the circumstances surrounding him leaving Seton Hall once upon a time 3 years ago, now the circumstances out of Maryland, it is just one of the weirder storylines that I did not anticipate seeing in March, but given the nature of the coaching carousel and NIL, I probably should have seen it coming.
Back to the NFL owner meetings. On the other side, we'll have Jamal St. Cyr join us from down there. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Radio from another galaxy.
Shall I scramble TAC HQ for an intercept?
What's its current position? 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I want you to forget what you saw here today.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Mia here. Summer is just around the corner. Is your air conditioning unit ready to handle the heat? There is one way to find out, and it doesn't cost you a penny. My friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are hooking up all of our 1010XL listeners with a free inspection. Give them a call to schedule now, 904-862-6769. And if you need any repairs, they'll provide a free estimate to ensure your system is ready for that Florida heat. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769 and be sure to tell them you want the free AC inspection you heard about on 1010XL.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
Friendly competition meets great futures. It's the Birdies and Bounces Tournament presented by the Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation, Friday, May 9th at the Yards. Where else can a pickleball tournament, 15 holes of golf, food, fun, beverages, raffles, and great activities help a worthy organization like the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida, where 59 clubs serve nearly 6,000 youth daily. For tickets and team registration, email Charlie C. at bgcnf.org.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Tired of supermarket produce that's traveled thousands of miles before you get it? Treat your family to farm fresh, Florida-grown fruits and veggies delivered right to your home with Doorbell Farms. No supply chain issues or questionable origins, just seasonal produce handpicked from local farmers. Subscribe monthly and enjoy the best local farm produce delivered right to you. Sign up now at doorbellfarms.com. Connecting real people to real family farms. Doorbellfarms.com.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe you got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
1, 2, 3, my baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for
Theo
sure.
O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Taylor Dahl off today, back tomorrow. Joined now by our good friend Jamal St. Cyr from down in Palm Beach at the NFL owners meetings. Jamal, it seemed like everybody was well dressed in the coaches photo.
Yeah, they were all set up. They were all ready. You know, this is Liam Cohen had to show out a little bit since it was his first time for these owners meetings down there.
And he was standing next to Todd Bowles. So once and for all, folks, there's no bad blood. Jamal, let's go 30,000-foot view as well as just sitting next to Liam this morning at his availability. What do you make of where this Jaguars front office, this administration is headed in a few weeks with the NFL draft?
Look, I think they're all on the same page as they kind of build this thing out. Liam kind of dove into their process a little bit, not too far, but he talked a lot about how James Gladstone has really broken down the board for them. Said he almost made it like a coach's call sheet, so that way it was easy for all the coaches to really be able to understand. He mentioned that he definitely wants to add some help on the defensive line side of things, but they're not worried about some of those measurables that we've harped on from some of the regimes in the past. They just want to add guys that love football and that are all about ball, and that's the kind of guys they want to add to that culture. So. Not a position, but we can give you a vibe. It's going to be somebody that's all about ball.
And that is certainly in that intangibly rich, raising the floor, all those things. Jamal, what's the single most surprising thing that's occurred so far through this offseason to you?
The most surprising, I mean, I thought they'd get rid of one or the other. I didn't think Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram were both going to end up getting jettisoned. I thought losing both of them probably surprised me. I thought it would be one. I thought it was going to end up being Evan Ingram and finding a way to keep Christian Kirk. Liam Cohen did talk a little bit about that today, saying that, those were hard decisions to lose guys like that were that important to the offense during their time. And obviously, it's hard to replace the impact that they've had on this Jaguars team.
You can find Jamal on X at J St. Cyr. That's JSTCYRTV. He joins us live from Palm Beach in the NFL owners meetings. Jamal, Liam met with reporters this morning. As far as itinerary for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, any other ties to Jacksonville, knowing, of course, a lot of folks wondering, when will that temporary home of the Jaguars be voted on at some point, either this owners meetings or perhaps it's at the one in May?
No, it's going to be the one in May that I think we're waiting for to get that big news about whether it's going to end up being the Swamp or Orlando. So a little bit longer wait on that one where they're going to make that vote. The Jaguars are kind of finalizing that proposal, so a little bit more in the process before they submit it and get it in front of owners' meetings. And I think the goal is to have it voted on in May.
What's your preference, by the way, Gainesville or Orlando?
I think Orlando's got to be the leader in the doghouse at this point, just from some of the work that needs to be done to the swamp if it's going to be NFL approved. So I would expect that Orlando's going to end up being the one that gets the call. For me, I'm good either way. I think Gainesville's a little bit of a shorter drive, but, all highway to Orlando, too, as long as we can dodge some of the Orlando traffic.
Exactly. Just avoid I-4 at all costs. Jamal, some other news, perhaps some other franchises a bit more, I would say, I don't want to say taking the spotlight from the Jaguars, but some more sound bites, we'll call it that, huh? Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, saying in part this morning that, quote, "We took a big swing and a miss with Deshaun Watson. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't. We gave up a lot of draft picks to get him. We've got to dig ourselves out of the hole." He then went on to say, "It would be great if we could get the quarterback in this April's NFL draft, but we are not going to force it." Lauren has maintained that if Shedeur Sanders was to be drafted in the top 4, obviously if the Patriots were to go in another direction, the possibility of Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter being there at 5. What do you make of the conversations you've had in Palm Beach today as far as where Cleveland will go? Where will those teams 3 spots ahead of the Jaguars on down go in this April's NFL draft?
Yeah, I think it's a real possibility that the Jaguars are sitting there at 5 and they have a really good player that's going to fall in their lap. I don't think it's going to be Abdul Carter. I don't think they're going to get that lucky, but I think the scenario of Travis Hunter being there at 5 is real. I do. I think that those comments tell you where their head's at, and I think the Browns are probably going to go quarterback, and that's a big reason why the Giants kind of approached things the way they did, and because they were already kind of aware of that. I think the Jaguars are going to be sitting there, and they're going to have a really good player, and there's no way you're not running in the card if the Jaguars get on the clock at 5 and Travis Hunter sitting there looking them in the face. That seems like the biggest gimme you can get in this draft process if that works out like that. And it looks like a real situation where it could, because it looks like the Patriots are going to want a big guy. That's what Mike Vrabel screams, right? Big offensive lineman of some sort.
Yes, for sure. Jamal, how did you take Liam Cohen's conversation on Trevor Lawrence? Did it seem like he was having to defend his quarterback a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. I think he wanted to he knows what some of the discourse around Trevor has been, and it seems like he was trying to kind of nip some of that in the bud for what he's seen from Trevor, to make sure that people understand what this guy is. And I think a lot of us around the team have seen it from Trevor. That he works hard and have seen kind of that grit or will that he wants to be good and wants to help lead this team to where it needs to be. It just kind of hasn't come together that way. In the past 2 years, there have been the injuries that have gotten in the way. And even, 2 years ago where he's trying to battle through the injuries, and the injuries kind of kept really piling up on him and wearing him down. So you got some of those comments from Liam Cohen where he doesn't want to be injured. He wants to be playing his best football, because I think he's trying to, disregard some of those narratives that were hanging out there from people about Trevor, and wants to show that, this is the guy. And this team is, they've said it at every turn, this team's going to go as Trevor goes. They know they have to find a way to build up 16, get the best out of him, which part of that means he's going to have to build up that mentality too. So he needs to show confidence in his quarterback out publicly, so that way 16 can show that confidence behind closed doors.
All right, Jamal, I was also just informed, not to switch topics here, but you have a very busy week ahead of you. I know you're headed out Thursday to the Final Four in San Antonio to cover the Gators. Give us an idea, though, here these next 24 hours. I'm assuming you're driving back to Duval here at some point today, but what else will go on at the owners' meetings in Palm Beach these next 2 days?
Yeah, we're heading back up to Duval. They're going to be voting on some of the bylaws. We could see some changes to the kickoff is what I think the tweaks along the way to that dynamic kickoff that they've been talking about. Really like what they did, but they want to make sure that they make some tweaks along the way. There are a couple other rule proposals on the way that they'll be getting along with and taking some votes on. So we'll be keeping an eye on some of that stuff down at the owners' meetings. But, yeah, getting ready to head out and see if we can get the Gators to bring back a natty, right?
That would be lovely. Please do that. Thank you very much. By the way, I do think that this has been the longest that Liam Cohen and James Gladstone haven't been together since James took the job.
Well, James is in Palm Beach, is he not? I saw the picture that Jordan Rodriguez tweeted out, right, Jamal?
He is in Palm Beach. But they said they've basically been spending every waking moment together inside the MEC. So they have been at least separated some at these meetings. So this might be the longest they've been separated. If we can get some little separation anxiety going on, then we can declare this bromance off and rolling.
I also was happy to hear that Liam Cohen has spent some time with his family as well. He did talk about that towards the end of the availability.
He did. He gave a shout out to V's Pizza.
Amen, brother man. That's what I was just going to say. Jackson's going to be the new spokesperson for our friends at V's Pizza. Before we let you go, Jamal, as it stands here, March 31st, 24 days to go to the NFL draft. Rattle off for me. I'm putting you on the clock. 1 through 5. Where do you think this draft goes?
I think you're going to have Cam Ward 1. I think you see Shadur Sanders go 2. I think the Giants take Abdul Carter. And I think the Patriots are going to take Armand Mimbu. And I think the Jaguars are sitting there with Travis Hunter on the clock, and they say, this is a gimme. Run the pick in. Stirring
that pot. Jamal St. Cyr, News for Jax. Appreciate you hopping on with us, brother man. Safe travels. If I don't talk to you before then, out to San Antonio as well.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me on literally anytime. Y'all have a great one.
Appreciate you.
Jamal.
And, of course, you can find him on X at J St. Cyr. That's JSTCYR TV.
Yes. And on the other side, we will cool down, and I'll give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Go full throttle for a photo finish.
Look at this. Whoa!
Sunday at Darlington.
Checkered flag is out.
Powered by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and 1010XL.
Listen up, poker players. March is heating up at all 3 Best Bet locations. The Bad Beat jackpots are now uncapped, soaring to new heights. So don't miss your chance to win big. Plus, get in on the $42,000 weekend windfall, featuring $1,000 high hands every Friday and $500 high hands on Saturdays. And starting March 3rd, the Race to a Race promotion is back. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Attention men and women. If you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4Me.com.
RV.com. If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Florida homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Universal Roof and Contracting protects your home and your wallet. Invest in a stronger roof and save big. Spend $6,000 and get up to $600 off. $15,000 up to $2,000 off. $20,000 up to $3,000 off. This deal ends March 31st. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Hey folks, Nick in here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts, sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
What does it mean when someone says the continental United States?
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates when it's time to renew. Before storm season, log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote or find an agent in your area.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The continental United States refers to all United States in North America. Hawaii is in the southern hemisphere.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Some other notes from the owners' meetings down in Palm Beach. Peter O'Reilly, the NFL EVP. Opponents for the London games will be announced closer to the full schedule release in May. The Titans definitively are visitors for games against the Jaguars and Browns in 2025, and both teams have home games in London. I'm guessing that means the Titans are playing two games as well, Lauren? That's interesting. Buck Rising of our friends up at 104.5 The Zone, our counterparts up in Nashville, said Amy Adams Strunk wants to duck losing a 2027 home game in London, which is when they'd be eligible for an international game. Makes sense to send them this year or next after hosting the Ravens at Tottenham in 2023. I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but I do know this. A friend of the program, Jake Asman, and I at the NFL Combine were kind of doing some deductive sleuthing, and reportedly the New York Jets may play some sort of London game, and the Jaguars are scheduled to play a road game against the Jets. So, we're just going to do some deductive reasoning as of now. But interesting to hear that the Titans visitors for games against the Jaguars and Browns in 2025. Maybe that means, I guess that means that their London game is going to be the Jags game or the Browns game. I guess that's what it's saying, because the Browns are the other home team.
And another thing coming out of the owners' meetings, and it's been talked about for years, but the NFL schedule changing from 3 preseason games, 17 regular season games, to then 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games. The NFL, as Taylor always likes to say, the NFL tells you that they care about player safety, but they keep adding games and not changing or not reducing much as far as they're never going to reduce the regular season. But I would like to see, and I've said this a million times, I would like to see 0 preseason games and just the regular season. They're not going to do that, though, because that's a gate.
No.
They get money for that.
They want money.
Yeah. And then
TV
money.
revenue.
Exactly.
There it is.
For sure. All right, time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day, as always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. They take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, which might be going to that this week, as a matter of fact, to see the Jumbo Shrimp. Also, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, all sorts of event venues around town. They do such a great job. If you have any pest issues, certainly termite issues, contact Terminix. This is an easy one for me. It is going to be the 7 players that had to be ejected from that NBA brawl last night involving the Pistons and the Wolves as the brawl spilled into the crowd. And like I said, 7 players had to be ejected. That's not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to play a clean game, not get into fistfights.
Here I was expecting you to make the New York Yankees the pest of the day, Lauren.
Oh, I thought about it.
Yeah.
But I can't because the bats are legal. Torpedo bats are legal. I can't make them the pest.
The bats are legal. I'm just waiting for another MLB team to be courageous enough to start using them.
Sure.
Because everyone would rather complain as opposed to, okay, well, if it's an advantage, then why don't you try it?
Yankees fans could be a pest of the day because certainly with the way things have gone over the weekend, and not just about the bats, but with all those incredible home runs, then Yankees fans are a little obnoxious.
Here's the behind-the-scenes story, by the way, because it's now making its way through the mainstream media. In case you missed it, the New York Yankees, all they're doing is hitting home runs, folks, and it's because of these torpedo bats. Aaron Judge is not among them, so despite 4 home runs between Saturday and Sunday, he is not using this torpedo bat, which features a longer head, or a thicker head, I should say, a thicker barrel of the bat as compared to a more traditional bat, but it's legal according to Major League Baseball. Aaron Lenhart is the mastermind behind the torpedo bats. He has a PhD from MIT. He worked on a NASA-funded research team, was a physics professor at Michigan for 7 years. He left academics to pursue baseball at 40 years old. He was at Dawson Community College in Montana. Suddenly gets the call up to the majors to be a minor league coach for the New York Yankees, then gets moved to the analytics department, and here we are. So what a wonderful world. We love to see upward mobility, and we love to see the analytics side of baseball because, once upon a time, we weren't allowed to talk about analytics in the game of baseball. And look, I know that there are those who question their managers, i.e. me, about Aaron Boone and some of the decisions in terms of the lineup, in terms of, well, this guy statistically has this, this, and this. But this is one that I can get behind, not just because of the home runs, but because it's innovative. And I think that whether it's Major League Baseball or any other sport, whether it's golf, we've talked about college basketball, the idea of progress being a good thing and you shouldn't shy away from it, it's on full display here.
Did you see Mookie Betts' walk-off home run? I think it was Friday night. It's such a story because, for the Dodgers, of course, it's because he's had that illness and he lost 25 pounds. And he gave a shout out to his wife who, when he was so sick and throwing up, she was there by his side.
Is he having solid foods yet? Because for a while there,
he's already added 8 pounds back on. So yeah, I think he's in the clear now. And yeah, Friday night was able to walk it off for the Dodgers. I told the guys during the handoff, the Marlins had 3 consecutive walk-offs. I haven't seen that since 1901 when the Brewers did it. And then also the Rays had a walk-off win over the weekend as well. I love the walk-offs. They're so much fun. Speaking of baseball, Florida finally won its first SEC game. It took until Friday night as Florida played a doubleheader against Ole Miss. Florida lost Thursday night 7-5. On Friday, the first game of the doubleheader lost 10-9, so obviously difficult.
They're there. They're right there.
But then, finally won the second game of that doubleheader Friday, 11-8, and then Florida plays host tomorrow night to UNF. First pitch 6:30. FSU did drop the first game at Notre Dame, but then 16-9, but then won the series after a 4-2 win on Sunday, followed by a 17-9 win in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday. FSU plays host to JU tomorrow night. First pitch 6:00. JU swept Queens. UNF won the series against Florida Gulf Coast, and our Jumbo Shrimp are 2-1 with the home opener tomorrow night against Worcester. The Red Sox come to town. First pitch is 7:05. All right, Mia, let's circle back to Liam Cohen and the NFL owners meetings. He was asked about his selling pitch to the coaches that he acquired.
Hey man, I was able to go to the Rams and learn what I thought was like getting my PhD in coaching, right? I'm not Sean, and this is a version of that place, right? But maybe if you haven't been in this system or been a part of it from, whether you're more in you just haven't had an experience of working under one of these coaches yet, hey, come, just be bold, man. Like, come do something different. Like, come be a part of something that may not be what you're used to. And, Jacksonville doesn't hurt. Being a tax-free state doesn't hurt. But really, it's part of starting something new. And truly, like I'm really saying, is like build it the way you want to be able to build it. Do things that, are hard. It's going to be hard. But that's what's the fun part.
I love that. Come be bold.
And it's going to be different. And it's not something that people who've worked at the Miller Electric Center or the Everbank Stadium for years may be used to. It's something that I think a lot of fans and a lot of listeners of this program, listeners of the station, those who live here in Jacksonville, if it is Rams East, it's not going to be what you're used to, and that may be uncomfortable. But sometimes you have to have uncomfortable conversations to get to the progress that you need to see to be a winning club.
Absolutely. And look, some of those conversations I think are fascinating in the sense of we know that Tony Baselli's never been in this role before. Liam Cohen's never been in this role before. Anthony Campanelli's never been in this role before. And Grant Udinski's never been in this role before. And James Gladstone's never been in this role before, right? Like, all that newness definitely leads to bold. You do have to have, I think, one voice, one central voice leading it all. And that, I think, to this point, is supposed to be Liam Cohen,
yes.
But it does feel like Gladstone has been more or less like leading the charge because of where they are in the offseason.
I will just tell you this, from conversations I had at the Combine, conversations I've had with folks from other franchises around the league these last few weeks, the conversation is always the same when it comes to those two. It's always, I was very excited for Liam, but now I'm even more confident it's going to work because of James Gladstone. And I have had multiple people say that to me. They said, I didn't think I could be more excited, but now I am. And for those who have reservations about Liam Cohen, they say that they believe that the reservations they may have about the head coach, that has largely been quelled because they believe in the general manager hire, regardless of how old he is, which, again, we're going to keep talking about that, but whatever. I think that it's going to be fascinating to see as well what James Gladstone does following the NFL draft, Lauren. It's going to be fascinating to see what moves he makes in the scouting department, what moves he makes to maybe fill out, or what was the word that Shad Khan and Trent Baalke used with the front office, to not fluff out, but to fill out, or whatever that phrase was they used, to fortify the front office, because once upon a time that front office consisted, going into the 2021 NFL draft and the 2022 NFL draft, of Trent Baalke, Shad Khan, Tony Khan. That was it. That was the front office. They obviously brought in Ethan Waugh. They brought in some other names. Now will we see those names give way to friends of and colleagues and hires of James Gladstone that could also bring more veteran voices to Jacksonville?
Speaking of Rams East, Liam Cohen was asked about the environment Sean McVay has built in Los Angeles.
I remember being in my third or fourth month working for Sean, and I'm just drawing. I'm a drawer, right? I'm just here, drawing plays, trying not to, just get in the way. And he comes by my office one day at 6 p.m. I'm just studying. It's the off season, and he walks by my office, comes in, and is like, "Hey man, just really you're doing a great job, and I appreciate you being here. I'm really happy you're here." And I was out, and I was like, "Oh, okay. You can be told you're doing a good job in this sport," because all the other places I'd been and how I'd grown up, it's like, hey, you just do what you're told when you're told, and you don't do it because somebody said good job. You do it just because you're a coach, and you're a little bit more of a soldier mentality. Though it was just a different feeling that you're like, oh, okay. It's okay to tell guys, hey man, I love you. It's okay to open up and be actually a human being too. And so that was always the culture where you felt like, man, all right, I have to be at a high level while I'm here, but man, I can be myself.
I am going to look directly into the camera. For those of you watching on the live stream, this is very, very important. If you lead people in 2025, I want you to go back. I want you to rewind the tape and listen to what Liam Cohen just said, because that, Lauren Brooks, is at the core of when we have spent ad nauseum, which I now know is AD, not AT, yes. Nauseum, by the way. Apparently I had that misspelled in my mock draft 1.0. That is at the core of when we talk about the modern player, when we talk about the modern employee. That is what is at the core. The why, and understanding it's not just handing out directives and saying, Okay, you got the job done. It's about positive reinforcement, yes, not coddling, but encouraging people and giving them some sort of roadmap of saying, hey, what you're doing is great. Keep that up. Because if you don't have that sort of conversation, you're not going to know where you stand, and that is the scariest place you can be, whether you're a assistant coach like Liam Cohen was, whether you are a radio host, whether you work in construction, whatever it may be.
RJ, Mia, Taylor, if she's listening on vacation, I want y'all to know I'm glad you're here. And you're doing a great job.
Yes, thank you.
I listened to what Liam Cohen had to say. I
listened, and I literally, I had my oranges, which I don't even eat oranges, but Kevin got some great ones from one of his uncles, and so, I'm sitting there eating.
I do not eat oranges.
I only eat 3 types of fruit, but today that changed. And I literally stood up, Lauren. I was the DJ Khaled meme, with the signal, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Here it is.
He's speaking directly to me.
He's speaking to me. Liam, I now see the vision. I see why people have said that you were the one. You are the way of the future. And it's a credit to Sean McVay. And it's a credit to Les Snead. And it's a credit to, again, let's circle back. Things are going to be done, if it is to be that way, here in Jacksonville, Florida. That's going to be very different than how it's operated downtown, how it, quite frankly, has permeated society here throughout this city. It's going to be different. It's going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay.
I really like the way that Liam Cohen is very candid about a lot of stuff. He's not going to tell us, obviously, who the Jaguars want to pick at 5 overall. I'm not saying that. But I like his enthusiasm. I like his just energy. And I'm not knocking the previous regime when I talk about that.
And that's an important note, too, because I've said that to multiple people. I'm not knocking Doug. I love Doug.
Sure.
I think Doug is one of the best human beings that I've ever worked with. But it is to say that times have changed and different voices need to be heard and a different way of communicating needs to be applied.
And that's where I think the addition of James Gladstone as the general manager is so critically important, because it's his job to effectively communicate to everybody when it comes to scouting and how they want to evaluate talent. And James Gladstone, we have been told, and we've now heard him speak, is a very effective communicator. So you trust that part of it, right? I trust that there's alignment now, that buzzword. I trust that James Gladstone is able to communicate properly and that there's actually a ton of communication between the head coach and the general manager. That I will knock the previous regime for. I don't think that those two in Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson were step in step spending a ton of time together in the offseason.
Especially not at the end. Before we say hello to Matt Hayes and XL Primetime, Social on the YouTube chat wants us to know, Lauren, that Helmets and Heels, we're doing a great job. And because 669 asked, what are the 3 fruits? The only 3 fruits that I eat, the answer is watermelon, green apples, and purple grapes. And now Matt Hayes will definitely have something to say about that.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Matt,
I gotta be honest, like a July watermelon, maybe the best sweet thing
No, that's
ever.
what I eat. I only eat 3 types of fruit, and
Honestly,
watermelon
maybe,
is one. Yeah,
the best sweet thing ever.
I
I'd
agree.
rather have that than cake or pudding. A nice July sweet watermelon.
I think one time
Phenomenal.
the Frangie Show asked you, favorite dessert,
and he
you
looked
said
at me like I had
watermelon?
5 heads, and I was like, no, really, that's it.
When it comes to Liam Cohen meeting with reporters this morning at the NFL owners meetings, we were just saying how much energy, and he obviously also is effusive in his praise about James Gladstone and everyone in that environment, that ecosystem.
Right.
It feels different, doesn't it?
I think he has his buddy working with him right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. And obviously they're on a new high right now. It's all new to them. They're starting over. They've been given carte blanche to start over, and they've cut contracts that people thought they shouldn't have, and they did anyway because they feel like this is their philosophy. And we say this all the time on Primetime. It's about philosophically what do you want to be, and they're clearly showing what they want to be right now.
and you have to applaud them for that.
Sure,
they have.
I don't. Yeah, because they've tried everything else with this franchise,
right?
And it's all failed.
I mean, at the end of the day, to me, this whole organization, all the changes, it all hinges on Trevor Lawrence. Isn't that wild? That that a 50-something-year-old in Tony Baselli, the 39-year-old in Liam Cohen, and the 34-year-old in James Gladstone, like their future lives in this career, in this business, all hinge on like a 25-year-old.
This season.
This season,
Because
absolutely.
if it doesn't work this season for that 25-year-old, guess what? Then the buzzword enters the picture. There's no doubt about
The buzzword, I think, has already started to be floated around. But yeah, it's just wild that they can make all the right moves when it comes to free agency, the draft, and this roster construction. But if the quarterback doesn't play well, it's not going to go well.
What do you make of not only our friend Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jack saying it, but I know Gus has said it as well, and I know you boys have debated it on primetime. Will Travis Hunter be there at 5?
I mean, if he is, it's going to be hard not to take him.
I think
I want
if you're the Patriots, hard not to take him at 4.
Yeah, but they really need protection. If they really believe that Drake May is their guy, they got to protect him. It's not unlike what the Chargers did with, I'm sorry, not Chargers. The Lions did with Penei Sewell.
Mm-hmm.
They took Penei Sewell because they knew they had to have somebody to protect their quarterback.
The Chargers did it last year, too.
The Chargers did too, right? But Penei initially, because they could have had the receiver.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, and they took Penei Sewell instead, and they got ended up getting the best tackle in the NFL right now, basically. So,
I'd still take Jamar Chase, but
right, Jamar. I mean, right.
And the Bengals have doubled down on that since.
They have.
And their quarterback's getting killed, and he's been hurt twice in his 5 years, right?
Yep. So I'm sure you'll get to the Final Four. What else is coming up on the show?
How about the Final Four, huh?
Oh, it was.
You must have just been.
It was a phenomenal night. I was sick. I thought it was over. I thought this season was over, and then I shouldn't, though, have ever done that because what does Tom Petty say? Won't back down. This team does not back down. They never believe that it's over. That they don't quit. Obviously, they believe in each other. And now you have a Final Four.
Is it strange that with 3 minutes to go in the game, all I was thinking was, my God, Lauren must just be like in a pretzel right now.
Well, I want to know. I changed multiple times what I was wearing. Yes, I changed cups I was drinking from. I changed a lot.
You've covered
Ryan
college.
must have just been, all right, I'm going to go.
No, he's just like me.
You've covered college sports for decades, Matt. I mean, unfortunately, because I was on the losing end of covering the Northern Iowa collapse of 2016, where they blew an 11-point lead with a minute 16 to go in the NCAA tournament. Where did that one rank for you in terms of comebacks? Basketball or football, whatever sport it is.
It's good. It wasn't like that Texas A&M comeback. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Nope. That was, nope.
That's high. It was definitely high. But that's what, in the tournament, you got to hit shots and you got to get stops. Simple as that.
Make your free throws and
and
Florida
free
did.
throws matter.
Florida did. Those 2 missed free throws.
I know. It changed everything.
Everything, yeah.
Changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, Clayton had an unbelievable 2 minutes. They played great defense, but without those 2 missed free throws, they don't win that game, I don't think.
Correct.
Or at least it goes into overtime.
Right, because then if you hit those 2 free throws, you get a chance at a second. And now all of a sudden, that lead starts being extended slowly but surely.
Yeah. And you put more pressure on the other guy to hit a big shot, yeah.
All right, so what else is coming up besides the Final Four?
Final Four Jags, maybe a little college football.
Okay, well, I love it. All right, sounds good. Thanks,
All right,
Matt.
thanks, guys.
All right, that'll do it for us today. Taylor Doll will be back tomorrow. For Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is on deck.
Welcome.